All right, welcome to another episode of Saintsaholics Anonymous, the podcast for true Saints fans who were at the Hall of Fame this weekend.
That's right.
All three of us.
Well, it's a podcast for true Saints fans.
In general.
And we were at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's not only for Saints fans that were there, but just, small clarification. But we were there, and it was awesome. My God. You and I got there late Friday night, but obviously the main event
Our pilgrimage, as you said.
It started becoming less of a trip and more of a pilgrimage as that Friday went on. So,
it was almost out of a movie.
Not to belabor, flight delays, because everyone's had them, and we're not the first, and we're not claiming the victim card on just getting delayed. But, I mean, it was, man, Southwest was on one on Friday. We got the text at 9 a.m. saying that our 4:10 flight was canceled outright, and it was a connecting flight. It was our flight to Baltimore, which was supposed to take us to Columbus, and we rebook. They say you get 2 chances to rebook.
And we needed them both.
It's like we almost needed them like 3 chances, but we rebook, find a flight to Austin, same exact time, leaving MSY, same exact time, getting to Columbus, so we thought we were in the clear. I hit refresh on my app like 5 minutes later, and it says delayed. You will now get into Columbus, Ohio at 12:29 a.m. We're like, Jesus. So, we ended up finding, thank God, a third option that left MSY at the same time, got to Nashville, and
the home of country music,
serendipitously put us in the Nashville airport, where Max and I had a lot of fun.
We did. We probably should have gone to Hattie B's.
Or 400 Degrees, something about the name of the first place.
Yeah.
But either way, there's hot chicken places all over the airport, which is hilarious that you have that many options to give people hot chicken right before they get on an airplane. Just doesn't sound like a good recipe.
Well, we ate Indian food right before we left the next day, so.
Dude, that Indian food I had a 36-hour hangover from that shit.
Wasn't the cocktails at all, I'm sure.
Quite literally. No, I mean like a gastric hangover. I think it's all out of the system now. But, Max had a little run-in with, he's a Negroni guy. And Max is in an airport with a hankering for a steak. Very common airport fare, as you all know. High expectations on the airport steak. So we find a place.
Well, hold on.
We find
not high expectations at all. I knew what I was getting myself into. I just wanted the hot chicken was very enticing.
Sure.
You poo-pooed that because of the name, and then I thought better of it because that probably wasn't the best thing to eat before getting on a plane.
Yeah, and also too, this was after we had about 2 gate changes, which is why I called it kind of like a pilgrimage. We were just walking by requirement all over the Nashville airport, getting up, being told to go somewhere else, get up again, go somewhere else, just to see our guy Drew, and we would do it again. But to kind of help with this pilgrimage, Max decided to get on the Negroni train. And
not realizing the cost of said train.
Well, look, I mean, what a Negroni, standard Negroni at a New Orleans bar can run you 10 to 13ish. You're thinking maybe an airport curve puts you at maybe 15.
Let me know where you're getting them at $10. I want to get.
I don't know. I mean, like
we should ask Sam. Sam probably knows where to get them for $10.
10 to 15.
He'll tell you make them. That's how you.
So, but you order a couple of them, 3.
3 to be exact.
Yeah, we were there for a long time, so we had time to kill. And then what happened when it was time to pay?
Well, so she went ahead and split the check to make it easy on us, since I had the steak and you had would you have a burger? Anyway, something.
Yeah.
And I look at the bill, and the bill was shockingly.
Mine was like 60. Yours was triple digits.
It was, and I'll tell you the exact amount. It was around 167.
147, 160 something.
No, it was. I'm sorry, 137.99.
Yeah. So, what was
That's a steak for $32. The wings for $17. 3 gen doubles.
Max just could not win at this restaurant.
I won.
I mean, you won, but up until you won, it was like you could not win. Nothing went your way. When you got the steak, you were like, I've never heard you sound more defeated in your life when you got that steak. You just go, it's so small.
It looked like when you get a Happy Meal for a kid, it looked like one of those burgers.
Yeah.
Like that was the shape and the size of this steak.
Yeah.
Like it looked like a little hockey puck, like a little kid one.
It was like an MRE steak.
Yeah, exactly. And, I ate it in about 3 minutes. I mean, it was like 3 bites.
But anyway.
The wings were good.
The wings were good, so anyway, we'll cut to the chase. The bill was that high because they charged Max $23 per Negroni. So Max had something to say about that.
$23.50, and it's because they don't have a button for Negroni in their POS system, which is one of the most mind-blowing things ever because that's a pretty common drink.
So he first told our waitress, who was very nice the whole time, and she's like, you need the manager? He's like, yeah, I need the manager. So manager walks over. Manager, I've never seen a restaurant individual more scared because you took things to 11 pretty quickly. But deservedly. But it was like...
Well, I had my attorney with me, so...
You had some leeway. And this guy... Man,
and we knew Ross was in the immediate area if we really needed to go in.
That's right. We had our Discord loyal listener, Ross Boudreaux, who is licensed in Tennessee, as is his wife. But so the manager comes up, and man, he was not letting off the whole Campari button issue. It was like, we have a button for gin, we don't have a button for Negroni. That's what it costs. I can take one of them off for you. But he was saying like I could take one of them off for you, and and he's like, no, he
didn't want to take it off.
You said no, this is bullshit. You can take 2 of them off because regular price would be $13. And he starts and then Max says, do you even know what's in a Campari or in a Negroni? And he goes, the guy just said Campari.
Yeah, because he Googled it at our table.
Goes, you can't even say Campari.
Yeah, well, so you also left out a key part. So I asked him explicitly, what do you charge if I order just a gin on the rocks?
Oh, yeah.
He said $13.
Right.
I said, okay. So then under that logic, a Negroni should be anywhere from $13 to $15.
Yeah.
That's what threw me off because they wanted to charge me for a double gin.
Yeah.
Which most restaurants don't charge you double the price for a double. They usually, it's.
But this guy just basically was like, look, there's 3 different, they counted Campari.
What'd you call him?
Campari and vermouth as liquor, so he was like,
what'd you call him? What was his name?
Well, I'm getting there. It's like it's a liquor, so it's going into the drink. We have to charge you for it. I mean, it was like cocktail communist, dictator of Campari, and so basically, I was like, yeah, this guy's basically like Kim Jong Campari. Yes. I mean, it's like he had a dictator's grip over.
You see what you missed?
The cocktail.
I've seen this story before.
We're walking out of the. Yeah, Nick had to hear about it already, but we're giving.
I just mean in life. If you follow Max around long enough, the Negronis will come back to haunt.
There were so many like Larry David moments where like. Well, I mean, I said walking away. I was like, yeah, that's Kim Jong Campari over there. Just would not let you off the hook. But eventually he did. But Max absolutely broke this guy's brain at one point where the guy was like, well, how about. He would not take 2 drinks off, and he goes, well, how about I take the wings off? And Max goes, I want to pay for the wings. The wings were good. And
all right, okay, hold on. I wasn't going full Jerry Seinfeld with the voice.
Yeah, you were trying to do it was Larry David Seinfeld voice.
It felt no, but that's what it felt like.
It was very calm and collected.
No, you were calm, but it felt like
yeah.
That's what the vibe I was getting.
Let's not let the listeners think that I went full George Costanza / Larry David.
You weren't yelling. You were not yelling.
I was not yelling. It was a very controlled.
But you were.
I was irritated, but it was a very
wanting. You very passionately told him that you wanted to pay for something.
Well, I stood my ground. I was very pointed about what I expected to happen, and it happened. So it was effective.
It was just funny. And when he took out his phone to Google what's in a Negroni, his hands were shaking. And anyway, Max won. But the guy's like, you can take. At one point,
we threatened the cops.
At one point, we thought we were going to miss the whole ceremony. Or I was worried about it. Came into the equation when the guy's like, if you want to keep arguing, you can either take what I'm offering you, or I'll just call the cops.
Yeah, he was a little quick with the cop card. I didn't appreciate that.
So I was like, damn it, Max, we're not missing this trip because of a Negroni. But it all worked out, and our pilgrimage continued and made it and ended properly.
So we got to the hotel around 1 o'clock.
Yep.
We got a couple hours of sleep. We woke up. Nick was at the hotel we were at, so we hopped into a car at 7 o'clock to make the 2-hour trek to Canton. Fun little drive. We get there and had an amazing time.
Yeah.
It was incredible, man. That museum, I walk around that place for hours.
Well, it's cool that how the Pro Football Hall of Fame makes the Hall of Famers accessible, like very accessible. We walk in, not even 20, 30 feet past the front door. After you walk in, there's Derek Brooks. like in the very first room of the place, in his jacket, taking pictures. Wasn't even in that big of a line, because the place, like, people moved pretty well throughout the place. Now, we did go before the ceremony. I'd imagine things would be different if you went after, but still, it was pretty cool. We saw Derek Brooks and shook his hand. I wasn't awkward with my name. I don't even know if I gave him my name, to be honest, but I just said, hey, big fan of yours. We loved watching you play, even though half the time you were.
I loved him at Florida State.
Yeah,
I was a big Derek Brooks guy. When he was in college.
Look, I liked watching him play linebacker when he wasn't playing us. So I just, told him, I was like, loved watching you play, loved the way you play, except when you were, tackling.
Well, what was it he said about?
Except when you were tackling the shit out of our guys, and he said, which I had a great time doing.
What did he tell you? It was with when he referenced us beating them twice the year they won the Super Bowl. He said something about Aaron Brooks.
Yeah,
he told it to you.
Yeah, he told me. I was talking to him. He's like, y'all won your fair share too.
Yeah,
and I said, after you left. And he said, well, I still owe Aaron Brooks one.
Well, he said, what he said, he's like, well, when I was there, the year we won the Super Bowl, y'all were the only team that we did not beat. Y'all beat us both times that year. Yeah. And we won the Super Bowl.
We beat Tampa both times. Brady won the Super Bowl there.
And he finished
until he beat all right.
He finished it after, he said, y'all won both times. And Aaron Brooks will not let me forget that. So clearly keeps in touch with AB.
Yeah,
Derek Brooks was awesome, man.
Really nice.
Look, growing up, he's what, a year or two older than us, I think. And
I'm gonna say he is 1 year older than us.
Yeah.
Probably.
So grew up watching Derek Brooks play at Florida State, and he was always a big fan. And so it was really cool to get to meet him and just talk to him for a few minutes. He was awesome.
Yeah, there really wasn't anybody in line behind us, so it didn't really feel like we were too rushed. We were able to kind of shoot the shit for a minute.
Well, there were so many other Hall of Famers around that it was easy to spread out the crowd.
Yeah.
Like we ran into Mean Joe Green.
Mean Joe Green just hanging out.
Just hanging out, man, and that was cool to see him.
Best defenders of all time, just chilling.
Yeah, exactly. An absolute legend. Somebody you grow up hearing about and you see all the highlights about. So it was really cool to see him.
And can confirm he was not mean. To us.
To us.
Yeah. I think
Who was the guy with him? What was that guy's name? He pulled a Corey. He introduced himself to us, and he did a little pause between his first and last name, and I was so caught off guard by the pause that I got flustered and forgot his name.
Maybe this is shines a light on the nature of this whole event, because you're standing there next to an NFL Hall of Famer, and you can't remember his name. There's so many of them around.
This guy was one of the more obscure ones.
Yeah.
You should know
Which
who
one?
it is.
It's
the white guy that was next to you.
Ron Mix.
Okay. What did he play? I have no clue.
I think he played center.
Yeah.
So not someone you definitely know. Let's see.
He's not a household name.
Not a household name, Hall of Famer.
I'm checking.
So here's the thing with Nick. So Nick has one of the best Hall of Fame football card collections in existence.
Yeah.
Like it's actually ranked. What's your ranking right now?
Offensive line. I don't know, 40-something.
Damn.
40-something in the world. His Hall of Fame collection,
impressive.
which is pretty impressive. And there was
that dude was 88 years old.
There was one guy we found when we were looking at the bust that even you were like, I don't think that dude has a card.
Yeah, there's one.
Who was his name? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Your collection's so. You have such a grasp on your collection that you, out of 338 busts, you knew if one did not have a card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Well, you remember, we got in there about 10, 15 minutes before you did.
Yeah.
You got lost in the gift store.
No, y'all left.
And
that's fine.
we left you too. But we were walking around,
Yeah,
and
I
we
held your place
literally
in line.
went through every single bust that was in there and got a picture, of the key ones. But that was the one guy that stood out. He's like, dude, I don't think that guy has a card. Because I was like, who the
It's someone
fuck
we
is that
knew
guy?
too. I'm just trying to blank it. Like I knew the player, but I didn't even realize he was in the Hall of Fame because he didn't have a card.
Yeah.
And I thought he should have because he wasn't like from the 30s. He was like, I think he was from like the 60s.
Okay.
I'll say this though, that room with the Hall of Fame bust is the coolest fucking room.
They've got it set up really well. It's dimly lit. It's like the main source of light is coming from what's under and behind the bust themselves, and so they really stand out. They pop. And
I would encourage anyone who considers themselves to be a true NFL fan or just pro football fan to make the pilgrimage to Canton, Ohio at some point.
Yeah.
If nothing else, to go into the museum and go to the room with all the busts in them. Yeah. Now, not all of the busts are well done. I will say that. But
It's
some of them
especially a recent
are
one.
exceptional.
Yeah.
Like that Ed Reed one looks more like Ed Reed than Ed Reed. Like it is, the detail on that one is just mind blowing.
I was impressed with the Warren Sapp bust. It looked like he was talking. You know, they say the bust talk at night. I mean, like he talks during the day. That thing was
The
so
Morton
good.
Anderson one looked good too.
Mort's-
Peyton Manning one's fantastic. And
Mort's
they
was
nailed
good.
the five head.
They gave him the proper amount of real estate on the forehead.
Yeah, they did.
And it was cool. I forgot that, you know, it's something you know when you look up, but I forgot, you know, Jim Finks was inducted, and so seeing his bust was cool. Named a fantasy team after him that I managed for about 15 years.
See, like I'm scrolling through the pictures I took. Jim Brown's that's pretty damn good. Dick Night Train Lane, you know, one of our favorites to hear about as a kid. Jim Taylor. I mean, there's so many iconic.
Well, Jim
Gale
Taylor.
Sayers.
We took pictures of anyone who played for the Saints. Jim Taylor
Yeah.
played a year
Right,
for the
right.
Saints.
Hank Strain
Doug
had
Atkins.
one, so technically,
Johnny Unitas looks just like him.
yeah. One of my favorites was John
Juice.
Madden. The second you saw John Madden's bust, it was like you could hear his voice.
Well, look at Dicka.
Yeah,
Looks just like
Dicka's
him.
is good.
You got the smirk down. Walter Payton's is iconic.
Yeah.
That one's one of the most realistic
that-
ones I think we saw.
We had to get Randy Moss, Barry Sanders.
Jim Finks right here, Saints GM during the initial surge in the '80s. Barry Sanders. That doesn't look very good.
His,
Right, I'm looking at it here.
The facial expression
Yeah,
is
it's
like,
still better than Drew's.
It's like the end of the career.
Elway, they nailed the teeth, the big teeth. Reggie White, that one looks spot on. Madden, come on, look at that.
And that's what I'm saying. The second you saw Madden's, you could just hear him talking.
Jerry Rice looks great. Ricky Jackson's perfect.
Yeah, he looked mean.
Yeah, even
Looks
his bust,
mean as hell.
even his bust looks mean.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But anyway, so we had a great time going through the gallery. It was good.
Well, hold on, let me scroll through the rest of these real quick. So
You
Willie
have
Ropes is
you have
pretty solid.
80 more of them.
No, there's not. Derek Brooks, had to check that one. Looks really good.
That's
Warren
it, yeah.
Saps. Favre's is damn good. I don't know what they were doing with Brees. It just doesn't look great. Morton Anderson's really good. Randy Moss is pretty spot on.
Yep.
Went with the old braids for his bust.
This one, though, Ed Reed. My God, you can't make a better bust than that.
Yeah.
And, you know, Matt, one of our listeners.
Palomalu was pretty good too. I didn't get a picture of that, but they did a good
think I
job
got
with the
one.
hair.
It was post.
Look at Manning's is spot on.
It looked like the post Head and Shoulders hair for Palomalu.
Sam Mills, the field mouse. Well, it's funny because Matt had gone to, because he played high school ball with Ed Reed, so he went to Ed's induction. But much like this one, we didn't get to see the Breeze bust up close. Matt didn't get a chance to see the Ed Reed bust.
Yeah.
So he hadn't really seen it.
Apparently,
He sent a picture.
if you had gone back, if you went at the second half of the day, it was after Breeze put his bust up on the shelf, and you could have seen it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they did that when they walked across.
'Cause I ran
at the
into
end.
a lady at the airport. It was in line of security behind me. She had a Fitzgerald shirt on, and I was like, "Oh, okay, you coming from the Cardinals fan?" She's like, "Yep, from Arizona." And asked her if she toured the museum. She said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Did you go before or after?" She's like, "I did go after, so the line was pretty long." And I said, "Yeah, we went before." She goes, "Oh, so you didn't get to see your guy's bust?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, when I went, they had the busts up on the shelf." And I said, "Oh, okay, yeah," because when we went, the shelf was empty. But it was kind of cool to see like an empty shelf, knowing that in a few hours his is going to be there.
Yeah, and I was texting Nick about it yesterday. I said, you know what, man, we should, fuck it. Let's just make a pilgrimage there once a year and just go for the Hall of Fame induction every year. Because now it's all these players that we grew up watching.
It was a cool event.
And you can there's a prime opportunity to get autos
Yeah.
at a pretty, good price.
Yeah, and I could see, if you go there,
It'd just be a
When-
fun little trip to take at the end of the summer,
yeah, when you go there and it's not one of your guys, there's a lot less pressure on like everything happening correctly. Like I was paranoid that one of these missed flights was going to cause us to get in later than we needed to for the ceremony, which started basically at, you had to be in the stadium at like 11 on Saturday.
Yeah.
So if it, probably enjoy it a little bit more if it's.
Well, let's talk about the actual ceremony. So we get to our seats, and compliments of Dr. Ye. We were hanging out in the suite. Awesome seats, dead center view of the stage.
Yeah.
We were able to see everything perfectly. The speeches were good. We got a little divided on the end of the Breeze speech.
Well,
I think
when you say we.
when I say we, I mean
Look,
the
let's just
Loomis
before we
fans.
get there, before we get into that, Breeze's speech was awesome. Nick even said that.
On the second listen, I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, he was just he was.
Did you listen to it again?
Not
What'd you
only
think?
was he classic Breeze,
Same.
he was
Same?
not only was he classic Brees, he poured his heart and soul into that speech. I thought it was genuine. I thought he showed real emotion, and I mean, my God, the shit he's not giving. Some people nationally call him a cheeseball, and they think it's.
Are you talking
fake.
about the Barstool guys?
Them and they're not the only ones.
Did you see T-Bob's?
Yeah, good for T-Bob, man. He went to bat for the Houdat Nation and for New Orleans, and rightfully so. And he brings up a good point. It's like people just don't understand how tied this city and its citizens are, its residents are to the Saints. Like the tie of the people to the Saints is why the team and a guy like Brees matters so much. And that's what I think the outside world doesn't quite get. Therefore, it doesn't understand that when someone's being saying the words that he's saying, like Brees is, it's not truly an exaggeration. It's what he believes. That's what I believe. Maybe maybe it's all an act. Maybe Brees knows his audience. Maybe he's the ultimate politician, football player. I don't think so, but I thought the speech was awesome.
I loved it in the moment, and upon second watch in the hotel room, you and I watched it together at like damn near midnight on the replay, and it was awesome. And being able to see it on TV and really see him zoomed in on his face, like you said, the emotion was there. It just felt real. It felt, just actual passion coming through in everything he said.
Now,
I know Nick's biggest gripe was that he didn't.
Well, you want to give your piece on it, Nick?
Yeah, go. For
Yeah,
it.
sure. I mean, I think he did a great job with the setup of kind of how he got here, meaning New Orleans. I think he did the part he talked specifically about New Orleans itself was perfect. I think he nailed all that. The only thing that I would have liked to have seen added, and we talked about it a little, in that maybe he was cut short. He went over. We knew he was going to go over. It's a question of how far over they were going to let him go, or there's TV stuff. There's all kinds of stuff going on. I don't know what happened with that, but I feel like there should have been at least a small section of it that was dedicated to some of the players that built it with him, because I think there's a certain collective that we all agree were hugely impactful in building what he led, and were a big part of it.
Real quick, to make sure people understand what you're saying there, because he obviously spoke passionately, tearing up when he was talking about, quote, my teammates.
Correct.
You mean by name?
Of course, because he went into names for San Diego.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to have seen him mention players like, we're coming into a complete disaster. Mention players like that first year, especially Reggie coming in at the same time, Pierre Thomas, Marcus Colston. Then you've got the offensive line guys that were right early on with Jari, who's going to be a Hall of Famer. Then I think I text y'all, and then a little something about the second act with that 17 draft of Kamara and MT, and that transformed the offense with him and gave him a whole, back half of his career that to me even matches the back half of Brady's career, other than the Super Bowl win that, the refs took from us in 19. Had he won that, their 40s are very similar, with Brady playing a couple extra years, but the production that was being put up with those groups on offense was incredible. I just would have liked to seen a little bit of that, because he did go into it with San Diego. He's talked specifically about Tomlinson, about Gates, about Doug Flutie, and how much of a guide he was for him there. And, as I think he should have. They were a huge part of him coming into the league. He knew LaDainian from, all the way back to high school ball, both playing in Texas. Yeah. And I think he did a great job in that. And I don't have, of anything he said, I wouldn't take away anything. It's not a knock on anything that he did say. I would have just liked to seen a minute dedicated to some of those players, like even someone like Shockey and catching a touchdown in the Super Bowl, coming to town here in 09. And
so that omission's
Filma
stood out to you.
Yeah, DeMario. I mean, great guys that we would all agree, and he would agree, are these cornerstones of what was built here. He was here a very long time, and there were a lot of people that were part of it. And just would have liked to have seen a few of them mentioned by name. But, I get it. He's under a time constraint. Maybe there were too many to mention for him in New Orleans, and he didn't want to single out a few.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. But I just think it would have been cool if he could have crammed that in there.
Duncan put out a tweet of the name. He actually put a tweet out of the names that he mentioned in his speech. and it is lengthy. There are a lot of names. And so when I saw that tweet, I was like, oh, shit, maybe Nick's got a point. But then I thought, wait, okay. Because my only thought, because when you brought it up, I was like, huh. I mean, you're not wrong. He didn't mention any of the 06 through 09 guys for that purpose by name. But when I looked at Duncan's list, at first I'm like, man, you name all these guys, you don't name the 06 through 09 guys. And then my retort to that was, well, he didn't have. If you're gonna start the game of naming all of the Saints guys for the purpose of naming them, you're adding and then also say what you want to say about them. You're adding a solid 2 to 3 minutes.
I'd have been okay if he didn't get into each individual player. I think if he could even, these 4 came with me in 06, in 09, these 5 helped us. I think you could have done it in an efficient manner.
I think you would need a minimum of 5 seconds per player. Okay, and so say you name 5, that's 25 seconds. What are you going to say about them? That's at least another 30. You're adding a minute. Maybe I don't know.
The problem is Ray Lewis fucked it up for everybody for having like a 50-minute speech. And, ever since then, the NFL's cracked down on it, or the Pro Football Hall of Fame has cracked down on it. And now they try to impose a 12-minute limit per speech.
Yeah.
And Brees said ahead of time he was going above it. But there's just not enough time.
12 minutes for these players who played 20 years and 20-plus years, it's not enough time.
And that's what I would think about when I see the names. I think the frequency at which names were mentioned, I didn't track this, but I got to think it decreased as his speech went on, because I think he wanted to make a point of getting to his roots, talking about the guys that got him there. His roots, it is the Pro Football Hall of Fame, so talking about his beginnings in the league, I don't think he can. If you're a guy like him, or if you're him, how do you get up there and not mention the guys who were there when you started? Gates was there, Tomlinson was there, Schottenheimer was there. Schottenheimer taught him what to do. His story, which I loved, when he said, early on in my career, and the quarterback's coach, forget the name he mentioned, but he said, we're going through film, and he said, why didn't you hit that open guy? And then Brees said, well, I couldn't see him, coach. And the coach said, it's your job to see him. The expectations are there. You have to be better than, I just didn't find a way to see him. Those stories were cool. He had to mention those guys' names. So other than that one particular part, it was there were some encyclopedic type parts of him talking about the Chargers. Yeah, in a perfect world, would we as Saints fans wanted him to talk about the Chargers less? Of course. But those were formative years for him, so I get it.
I would have liked his speech to go for like 45 minutes. Like I needed the full-on treatment that we used to get in the old days. I say the old days, like the 90s and the early 2000s, watching the Hall of Fame, when those guys would just go for as long as they wanted to, and this broadcast would last for like 5.5 hours. Yeah, I wanted to see one of those speeches, but that's also me as a Saints fan wanting to hear Brees be able to mention everybody that should have gotten a mention.
Yeah.
That being said, on the second rewatch, I loved the speech even more. I thought it was fine. The little critiques I had about it on the first go-around kind of went away for the most part. And I think all in all, it was an amazing speech with just an incredible line that should go on the statue.
Yeah, the trusted, you entrust me with the soul of the city. And then even before that, leading into it, when he said, storms make us appreciate things that make us realize what things can be replaced and appreciate the things that can't be replaced. And that was you're going to win over
the city with those type of things, and I think it was great. I just think it's such a team sport. There had to be some people that were super impactful teammate wise. That
I think there were so many, and I don't know.
Everyone else mentioned
he was so passionate. Like the most emotional he got in the entire speech was when he talked about his teammates in New Orleans. And he talked about what we did when we were in New Orleans, what we did for the city. Couldn't have done it without my teammates. And either he was cut off on time, was planning on mentioning names, or it was a very conscious choice to just fit them all as a whole. Because how do you? I don't know. Like, where do you cut it off? If you're him, like, what you start naming names?
Yeah, you're gonna forget somebody.
Where do you? Or you don't forget. You're gonna have to make a cut.
Yeah, you have to draw a line. For sure, you have to draw a line.
He would have to decide, like, make a conscious decision. I'm going to mention these 10 names and then number 11, who I think is just as important as number 1, I can't mention because of time. So I'm good with him doing it the way he did it, even if that was his direct choice. Because my God, like he just the emotion and passion was just overflowing. And look, if you're a teammate of his, like you don't need your name rung. You don't what.
Here's the reality. We ran into
him.
Jeff Duncan in the suite area, and we talked to him, and he said that there were over 500 family, friends, ex-players, ex-teammates that were there for Brees. He said it was the largest contingent that Canton has had.
Yeah, and look,
and that doesn't count all the Saints fans who made the pilgrimage on their own as well.
And him giving shout-outs to people that everybody might not know about, like his neighbors. I know the diehards of us have probably heard that story before. The Price is coming over on Mondays.
We heard it at the dinner.
Yeah, we heard it at the dinner. But maybe most people probably didn't know that, or know that Trombone Shorty would just come out and hang out and have red beans with him. Given he even mentioned his accountant by name. His entire team.
People look, all in all, I don't think we need to pick it apart anymore. Look, all in all, it was an amazing speech, and it left 2 incredible quotes that will stand the test of time in this city in particular. Yeah. And, I can guarantee you that whenever a statue of Brees gets erected outside of the Superdome,
they'll have that, yeah.
That quote is going to be on the statue.
It's going to be like the Gettysburg Address and the Lincoln Memorial. Just it's carved into stone.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be incredible.
We did announce the Ring of Honor, right?
Yeah, that was today. Yeah.
So that's good. They'll be doing that. I guess they wanted to wait for him to actually be in the Hall of Fame before doing it because we thought they might do it a couple years ago.
But they had to.
It makes sense.
They had to figure it out because last year was the Saints Hall of Fame.
Right.
And I think some people thought they were going to do Saints Hall of Fame and Ring of Honor. That's
what we thought. Yeah.
But they did one. So they're doing it right.
And numbers should be retired, the whole deal. Well,
remember, we don't officially retire numbers.
I know.
No
one should be allowed to wear
number 8 or number 9.
If no one's worn 8 to this point, no one's wearing 9 to this point.
Better not.
But still, and this is a sidebar, but why the hell are people allowed to wear a 57? You know what I mean? There's some numbers that should not be handed out, and they are. We're not going to go off on that tangent. Just referencing it. If 8 is retired and 9 or pseudo retired and 9 is as well, if they're off limits, I guess I should say.
Yep.
There are several other numbers that should be off limits for the most part too. What?
57.
That's a different topic.
The 50s are more needed. I still don't think I've seen 57 in the regular season.
You have seen 57 in the regular season.
I've seen it in preseason.
Alex Okafor wore it for multiple years. There are several other players who have worn it, and it's random players who come on and get this number. And it's like, what are we doing? Why are we giving that number out? There are other numbers available. Regular season, how many players are on the roster?
We all know the answer. 53.
Okay. Yeah. Numbers 0 now through 99. Come on. We don't need to have, it's 100 digits that you can possibly have, taking away number 8 and number 9. Like, we don't have to give out 57.
Yeah. And, if you're offensive line, then there's 30
Again,
available.
that's a side topic. We don't need to get into that. I think you and I have actually touched on that before on an episode where we talked about jersey numbers.
And this probably won't be the last time we talk about it.
No, it probably won't.
But yeah, so Canton overall, awesome.
On the way out, we saw Jonathan Vilma. We got to talk to him for a few minutes.
And we have our own take. Speaking of, what were you saying about? Didn't you? He recognized you, right?
Yeah. He's he lived in the warehouse district. Yeah. I'd met him a few times through Roman, and
that was cool.
He's a good guy, real good guy. Every time I've ever seen him, he always takes time to bullshit for a few seconds or a minute, whatever time he's got. So
it was a cool dichotomy because I never met him in person before, so I was like, hey, I don't need, because everyone's trying to get a selfie. I said, look, I don't need a selfie. I just want to say I'm a huge fan and just thank you, for everything you did during Super Bowl year and before beyond.
That to me is the correct approach, and I think more people should do that.
I was like, I don't need a selfie. I just wanted to dap you up, fist bump, whatever I said, And then you're like, hey, John. And he goes, oh, hey, what's up, man? I was like, this is so different. But such is life when you kind of run a restaurant and live in the warehouse district, see those guys all the time. So that was cool.
Yeah, man, we're all neighbors.
And then at the same time, immediately after that exchange,
it was immediately before we saw Cam. Yeah, and he was moving pretty swiftly for a guy with a bad hammy.
He did not look like he was hampered at all. I mean,
Hey, hopefully it's a minor injury, and they're just, there's a handshake agreement to have him not have to practice right now. He
just
shouldn't have
until
to
the
practice
regular
anyway.
season, because he was bobbing and weaving through the crowd, moving like a gazelle. It was impressive.
Leave him in bubble wrap until the regular season.
Yeah, he
We
was
don't need
good. He
him.
was taking selfies when he could, but he would take a couple selfies and then just. He was fast. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you look at his Facebook page, I think his Instagram page as well, he was reposting pictures of selfies and all that.
Yeah.
Like crazy. So
Yeah.
he's that guy that, I think you and I were texting about it yesterday. You said it. Whenever he gets inducted, that dude's going to be at the Hall of Fame every damn year.
Every year, yeah.
Just hanging out and, taking
Oh, yeah.
pictures. And
Yeah.
because he's just one of those personalities. Like, he will be on the NFL Network or ESPN, whatever it's going to be.
He's gonna have his
when
spot.
that time comes. He'll have his spot in the national media, and he'll be damn good at it.
Yeah, and let's see. We also had from our Discord, Zach was there, feet on the ground.
Yeah, man. Sorry we didn't get to link up with him. It's just fucking whirlwind.
Yeah,
Pilgrimage
he got some
whirlwind.
solid picks though. He saw Roman.
Yeah.
So I think Roman must have done it big Friday night because knowing him, he said he was planning on leaving early Saturday anyway. He was so visible, like Roman was everywhere on social media.
Yeah.
And then
Well, they were doing their podcast. He and Peanut
but
Tillman.
you didn't see anything out of his source, out of his media's from Saturday at all.
Yeah, it was pretty
So
quiet.
it makes me think he had a good time Friday night, which he should have. But Zach saw him Friday. Zach, dude, shout out to you, Zach. You got a bunch of good pictures with a lot.
He
of
had some
dudes.
good seats, man. His
Yeah.
seats were right in the thick of the action. So
He had ran the gamut. Devin Booker randomly was there.
what the hell was that?
I mean, he played for an Arizona team, but
Okay, well, it's kind of random.
I don't know. Maybe he's got a connection to one of the guys. But yeah, so good stuff there.
Well, let's do this. So I think we've covered the Hall of Fame weekend sufficiently. I think all in all, we can wrap it up with amazing weekend, incredible, experience for us all to be able to go there.
And,
Three of us go check it out. See Brees, our hero, get inducted into his rightful place in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And just an amazing weekend overall. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Absolutely want to go back. Hopefully Jari Evans can get in there soon so we can make that trip again.
Yeah.
And then Cam a few years after that. So
I do have to thank
Here's
Nick
hoping.
for being a hero and with the dinner that we had at the Indian restaurant we went to. It was awesome.
good Negronis.
So thank you, Nick.
13 people at a four-top.
And Dr. Gay. I told Max this. I didn't tell you this yet, Nick, but I was almost comatose and like barely able to move in the hotel room. I was like, you know what that...
Just after you bought the 3 more beers when we got home.
2, but they were Yinglings. They weren't good. But I was like... It's not like I was crushing, stouts or IPAs. I mean, come on.
I have limits.
Yeah, come on. Responsible. I said, Mac, you know what that felt like? It just hit me with like that many men around the table. I mean, I know Mary and your daughter were there, but I was like, it felt like that scene from The Odyssey with the pigs. Like we were all just gorging on, like the food was just constantly being passed around, and it never ran out, and everyone was just constantly eating, and it's just all these men eating this off of these plates with nondescript looking food, and it was
I got to go watch The Odyssey now, I guess.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Okay.
I'll say this, man. The server did a good job.
She was awesome.
She was really good.
She handled it really well for what was a difficult situation handed to her.
Well, that second round of Negronis took a while, but then she compensated for it by bringing out a few complimentary ones, and I think Mary was a little peeved when that last one came out.
Well, I think
The
you set
free ones?
Yeah. I think you set the
Nick's
stage.
going to die tonight again.
You set the stage well for her by giving her a little insight into the cocktail communist Kim Jong-un beforehand. So she knew that she couldn't give you the worst service at the trip. So
She couldn't give me the damn Wi-Fi code, though.
but she said she didn't even have the Wi-Fi code.
I
Right?
know, and I told her, I said, I don't care about you. I want the Wi-Fi code.
Yeah. She was probably like, "Aren't you going to be out of here in 30 minutes?"
No, she laughed at it.
Yeah.
And then she brought us a complimentary drink.
That's right.
She did a great job. I hope we tipped her well.
And thank you, Steve, for driving the fun bus.
Steve driving the bang bus after a few cocktails. That was fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Good trip, solid trip.
amazing trip. Absolutely would do it again. We'll do it again. hell, maybe we'll make it a yearly thing. We'll see.
We recounted to give all y'all at least the closest vicarious living as we could.
Keeping in the Drew Brees theme of things. Leading up to the Hall of Fame, this one was ranting and raving about the CBS Sportsline list that came out. And it was top 100 players of all time? Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's what they called it. Top 100 players. It didn't say specifically best players or anything. Top 100 players in NFL history is what they called the title of the article.
So I'll preface this with this. He took exception to this. This was on Saturday. And then we had Zach in our Discord about, an hour and a half ago.
Yep.
Referencing the disrespect towards Brees. So he asked us to get, I guess, an unbiased look at where he would shake out Brees in the in the hierarchy of NFL QBs in history, and how many of them we would take ahead. So
well, I've been telling you this for years, and why I was so desperately wanting to get the second Super Bowl, because I feel like it crosses a threshold where
Puts them in a smaller group.
Not in New Orleans or not in even the NFC South, but in the country, the way you are viewed with a second title, if you're not in a major market, changes the way the NFL experts view players, because you can have these arguments all the time about who was the better player or who had the better career, who's the most accomplished. They're all different things. For me, it's just who plays their position the best. You can't control things like the no call in Drew's case, or having the worst defense of all time one year when you're throwing for 5,000 yards, or in other careers,
the fucking no tackle in San Francisco, all that shit.
Right, there's been some debate with Big Ben. I think Barstool was bringing up, well, Big Ben had a better career. Did he? He couldn't complete a pass in the Super Bowl, and they still won.
Yeah.
So is he a better player than Brees because he has 2 instead of 1? He was a big negative in the first Super Bowl that they won.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was his second year in the league. Yes, good leader, turned into a great player, became the reason they won a Super Bowl later in his career. But are you a better player than Drew Brees because you have 2 Super Bowls instead of 1? Absolutely not. He played the position at such a higher level than Big Ben, and Big Ben was a great player. But Brees' level of play, it's not comparable.
Big Ben was like brute strength his way through.
Yeah, fun to watch. Great player. All-timer, going to be probably a first ballot.
Yeah, he's eligible next year.
He's up, as opposed to, and then you look, now no one's comparing Eli to Drew, but Eli has 2 Super Bowls, but Eli won a playoff game in 2 seasons in his career.
That's it. Wasn't this his second chance to get in?
This was second or third.
Yeah.
I think it was his second. So. He probably doesn't get in next year because I can't imagine you put him in before Big Ben.
It's like, I don't want to say there's a point of no return for him, but there's going to be a point where
he gets in. He gets in because he's in New York. He gets in because he's in New York and he has 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
is he a bona fide, by sheer performance and talent, a Hall of Famer? In my opinion, he's not, because there was only 1 year in his entire career you would have considered him a top 5 quarterback in the league for that 1 year. He was never a top 5 quarterback. How can you be a Hall of Famer if you've never really been a top 5 quarterback? But they'll let him in because of the winning. And to be fair, football's pretty consistent in that they overvalue Super Bowl titles. For me,
you were losing your mind over Roger Craig.
Yeah, Roger. I like Roger Craig.
Poor guy. Couldn't even give his own speech.
Great, really good player. Hall of Famer. Now, no one's talking about him as the great running backs of all time. He had one incredible season, without a doubt. Huge year. You look at his stats, he's retired. He has Kamara's career today. Kamara's, and that's in an era where the running back was a focus of offenses way more than it is now. Now it's turning again where it's becoming a focus, but over Kamara's career, the running backs were way down. Nobody was getting paid. Not as many touches. But
split back committee.
Right. A lot of that. So by that token, I think Kamara has 15 more touchdowns than him. He has more catches, more receiving yards, less rushing yards, higher rush per carry. Pretty much statistically,
basically, if Roger Craig's a Hall of Famer, Kamara should be a Hall of Famer.
Correct. And as of today, I don't believe AK is going to get in because he doesn't have the Super Bowl. If he had the Super Bowl, they'd probably let him in. That's where I think the criteria for the Hall of Fame is a little weird.
They put so much weight on look, it's a big deal, but yeah,
it's a huge
weighted
deal.
A lot.
And it should matter, but to think players are better than other players because they have one or don't, I think is when we're talking Hall of Fame, we're talking about the player.
Right.
Yeah.
And
the team.
Right. And the team accolades should matter and should have weight. But to say Eli gets in the Hall of Fame before some people is strange to me.
It should be a major factor, but not the deciding factor. And I think currently when they have two guys up against each other that are neck and neck, the Super Bowl becomes the deciding factor. At least it seems that way.
Yeah,
you know,
and we talk, since this has been Hall of Fame, and it's always been something I've watched pretty closely. It's why you see all those 70s Cowboys, 70s Steelers players in. You see the 90s Cowboys are all in, and they get a boost because they were part of these like mini dynasties.
72 Dolphins.
Not that many in, actually. The ones you would expect, but coach, quarterback. Zonka's in, but not Mercury Morris. And Buonicotti is in, but it's not as many as you would think.
Yeah.
That's the one that but it wasn't really a dynasty. It was just an undefeated season, right? The other one that's going to be very interesting going down the line is these Patriots players, because there's a lot of marginal resumes from those Patriots teams, because it was a lot of players who had great 5-year runs and then kind of fell off, or Belichick got rid of them. You would assume the Richard Seymours get in, but will Teddy Bruschi, will he get in? I think 3-time champion, was the anchor of the defense, but did he have a Hall of Fame career? Probably not. Yeah. But we'll see, because the legacy, those dynasties tend to get players from below the line over the line with the wing.
Yeah.
So this list,
we looked at this list. They ranked Brees.
So this is the one that set you off.
Yeah. Because
so how do you want to handle this? You want to game show it and just do Brees versus the player?
I just want to talk about it generally.
Yeah, if you'd let me go crazy, we'll be here all night. But I don't want to get too deep on the non-quarterback players, because that's
fair.
Then you become like, okay, what was a more valuable position in this era versus right?
Well, except for any of them that maybe some of the non-QBs that are glaringly not on Brees.
If this was just who's the greatest football player of all time, like Jim Brown, probably number one. Barry Sanders. Those are the types of people that Jerry Rice.
What are they saying is the criteria?
They just said the greatest football players of all time.
Okay.
That's how they didn't give the criteria, and that's where it gets weird for me, because what are you actually saying?
Yeah.
There's a few. So how many did they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They had 11 quarterbacks ahead of Brees, and Brees had 33.
Jesus.
I don't want to get, like I said, too deep in the weeds on
go through the
on him. The closest players, they graded Tony Gonzalez a better player, O.J. Simpson, Junior Seau, Emlyn Tunnel. Emlyn Tunnel was, I think he's got the all-time or top 2 all-time in interceptions. He was a great player. Don Hudson, great receiver. Like, no one's going to argue these are great players, and how you want to compare a receiver to a quarterback. In this era, I don't know how the top 10 players of this era are not quarterbacks. Yeah. Because so much is on the quarterback now.
It's so important.
As maybe 25 years ago and further back, they were more of a part of the team. Now they are the orchestrator of everything, and it's so much more weight on them than it was back then. But we'll start. We're going to skip over all the position players and go quarterbacks, and the ones they have ahead of us, or ahead of Brees, is Sammy Baugh at 32, Brett Favre 27, John Elway 22. Otto Graham 15, Johnny Unitas 14, Pat Mahomes 12, Aaron Rodgers 11, 10 Marino, 6 Peyton, 5 Montana, 1 Tom Brady, of course. I think it's fair to say there is no argument for Brees being better than Tom Brady. He essentially has Brees level production over a longer period of time with 7 times the titles. So the one thing you can't argue is that the greatest player that's ever played the game, if you're taking all metrics into consideration.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't have as many 5,000-yard seasons.
He doesn't, but he has a higher touchdown season. He's got Brees somewhere on pretty much everything.
If you're going by stats, then titles. Yeah.
No, you're going by anything, honestly.
A big part of Brees' argument is stats. That's the problem. And he's got him outstatted even.
Look, you can take your Homer. We can take our Homer glasses off on this one. The reality is, I mean, Brady's going to be at the top of any legitimate list for best player.
Right. And should be.
Jerry Rice is the other one to me that absolutely should.
Yeah, and
Be
that's.
ahead of-
Do you want to start from the top? The like.
Go.
Theoretically, the least argument Brees has are against the
Who are
top.
the
Yeah,
top
let's just we can
Jim
quickly
Brown.
go through the top. But we got Brady at 1. I think we'll all agree Brady should be 1.
Yes.
Who's 2?
Number 5 on the players, 2 at quarterbacks, Montana.
Oh wait, you know what we should do? They seen other shows do this where you say stop when you get to a player who's not as good as Brees.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Treat it like game show style. And just
Okay,
go through it.
I think we're there. There's an argument.
What number are you on? 2.
Montana, number 2 quarterback all time.
No,
Montana.
I mean like in the total players, like number 2, number 3.
Yeah, let's just roll through them
Like
real quick.
all the players.
We don't
Okay.
need to dive into it. We can just say, like Jerry Rice, I'm taking Rice is unequivocally better than Brees.
Rice, Jim Brown, Walter Payton.
Okay, so we get to 5 with Montana.
Yeah.
So you could say Walt, Brees, Peyton better than Brees.
Better than Brees.
Peyton's 4. I mean Walter Payton.
For me, no. But you can make an argument. I mean,
Right.
he
so
was.
where would y'all put Brees slotted? Where would y'all slot him in on this list?
I don't know. I don't want to get. I don't want to do it that way because I think these arguments are for these top 10 spots. I have a tough time saying definitively I think Drew Brees is a top 10 NFL player of all time. But at the same time, it's hard for me to get there with Montana, Peyton, and Marino too if you're going by the same criteria.
Yeah, because they got Peyton Manning at
6 and Montana at 5 and Marino at 10. So let's look at the argument for each. Montana, obviously quintessential winner,
Yeah,
right?
4 Super Bowls.
We do this weird thing with quarterbacks, though, right? We tend to overrank the overly physically talented because it looks a certain way, right? Like a Rodgers or a Marino,
Mahomes.
a Mahomes, because the physical traits are so good, we just think they're better.
because the ball jumps so
Well,
well.
Montana does not fall in that category.
That's what I'm saying. But he has the 4 Super Bowls. So we have these like different groupings, and the groupings are the winners, right? The Terry Bradshaws, the Joe Montanas, the Troy Aikmans, they get all elevated because of the winning. Joe Montana is not a physically impressive player. He wasn't a high draft pick at all. I think what was he?
2nd or 3rd?
Third? I think he was third round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was in quite possibly of all these quarterbacks the best situation
Yes.
of the time, having
Bill Walsh, George Seaver, Jerry
well,
Rice,
Bill
John
Walsh,
Taylor,
the
Roger
innovator
Craig.
of modern offense.
He had
pretty
the
much.
West Coast offense when
Right.
no one had yet seen the West
Right.
Coast
So
offense.
defense had never seen it. They didn't know how to defend it. It took years for the NFL to catch up,
had
and now it's a cornerstone of most offense.
And he
Gun
had
to my head, I would take Brees over Montana.
Jerry Rice.
Correct. That's where I was getting. And then the Hall of Famers. Now Roger Craig, we've made a Hall of Famer. We
Yeah.
say I don't believe he should be, but
Brent Jones was a stud. Roger Craig. fucking
Clark
Tom
before him at
Rathman,
tight end.
Clark,
Tom Rathman is one of the best fullbacks ever
Bar none,
in that
Will
role.
Floyd. No, that was Steve Young. Never mind.
He had the
Good
did
defenses.
he had Ricky Waters early on maybe for his last Super Bowl. Was he there, or was that
That
Young?
was
That was
Young, I
with Young.
think.
Did he 1 or 2, Ricky, with the Niners?
I think he was with the
Because he was drafted 91.
But look, we do it on the inverse. With the Saints receivers that played when Drew played. We've done it with my guy.
Right.
I love Colston, but we say but he played with Brees. So, you got to factor that in. So with Montana, the fact that he played with Jerry Rice has to.
And
I
don't
think
just-
Rice elevated him more than he elevated Rice.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And don't stop there. Look at the defense.
Right, the defense was-
Ronnie
yeah.
Lott was
Yeah.
an absolute beast. They were always a top half defense the whole time Montana was there. So he had a better situation than Brees. And look, we can't make that excuse forever with Brees. Obviously, like it is what it is. You have to overcome it. I'm not going to say definitively he's a better player than Joe Montana. I believe he played the quarterback position better than Joe Montana, but I think that it's at least a debate. and they're 28 spots apart.
Yeah.
So that's a lot for me.
That's crazy.
Now, this is where we really get into the meat of things. For me, Peyton Manning's career is essentially Drew Brees with better PR, in my opinion.
Right, because his corpse got dragged to that second Super Bowl title by that defense. So he had the same damn career.
That's a great way of putting it. He could barely get the ball in the air.
He had...
I'm taking Brees over Peyton.
First half of his career was playoff failure. He played his worst games of the year in the playoffs for a decade.
Yeah.
Then he got it. He got the Super Bowl, to his credit. But what I mean by that is they are very similar players, very cerebral. Their arm talent doesn't jump off the screen at you, but they're always making the right decision. They're always doing the smart, like not even just with the throw. It's like taking the sack when you should take the sack, not throwing the interception when you know what I mean? Like they are, to me, are the most similar. I think
to me, they're the two smartest. Brees is the most accurate. Peyton's probably the smartest. But between the two of them, I think they're dead even.
What's interesting,
Brees is definitely more accurate.
The PR. It's interesting you mentioned the PR side of it, because when you hear Brees talk about all the things he's thinking about and does pre-snap and walking up to the line, and there's a great interview where they sat down Brees and Kuechly and talked about their cat and mouse, and it makes you realize that like what Brees is doing isn't really the whole lot different than what Peyton was doing.
Not.
It's not.
It's without the theatrics.
So the PR,
what was the thing Peyton used to do?
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Because Peyton does it by like using all these hand motions. He's running over to the different offensive linemen. When he gets credit for running over and talking in the ear hole of the guard or sometimes even the tackle. But Brees gets no credit for, I don't know, before that, having a code with his guard and tackle to where he doesn't have to go over there and talk to them.
And why does Peyton take no flack for being a dome quarterback?
And also,
none.
Here's the reality. Yeah. This whole debate between Peyton and Brees completely supports your argument about the second Super Bowl. Because without that second Super Bowl, I don't think anyone is putting Peyton above Brees.
I think they would, because I just think the perception of Peyton being a number one pick, coming in with the expectations, I think he still would be. And again, this isn't a player I'm saying Brees is definitively better than, but what I am telling you is they're not 27 spots apart and not 9 quarterbacks apart.
Yeah.
Montana, Peyton, and Brees probably should all be clustered together.
Put them in the same,
not 5, 6, and 7.
In the same tier, essentially.
Same tier, yes.
And again, I'm not talking about accomplishments. I'm not talking about anything. Peyton has the MVPs. Drew didn't get any. Why? Again, PR. The 2011 season, Brees not winning the MVP is the most,
It's a joke.
Now, I know there was great seasons, so you can't say the other season wasn't deserving of an MVP also.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just run into a buzzsaw and you lose the vote. For whatever reason. It doesn't mean he didn't have MVP seasons. He has 4 MVP seasons.
Well, it's no different than the Saints when they got good in the late 80s and they ran into the buzzsaw that was the San Francisco 49ers. We just happened to get good in an era where the 49ers were better.
Yeah. Right.
And we could never get over that.
There is a level of publicity. I don't think Brees had any interest in like marketing himself for shit like that. I
already said I'd take Brees over Montana. I'm taking Brees over Peyton. Now, who's next up? 10, Marino?
Peyton stuff for me, again, I'm not. I think Brees is in that grouping, is what I'm saying.
You're saying you're saying you don't want to definitively say,
right? Because there's a great argument for Montana. There's a great argument for Peyton. So I'm being indifferent, and I get it. Their arguments stand up too. If someone said, "Hey, but
it's a coin flip between each of those players." And it just depends on, what your mood is that day. But my mood, I'm taking Brees, and maybe it's because I'm feeling nostalgic after having seen him get inducted in Canton this past weekend. But I'm taking Brees over Montana, and I'm taking him over Peyton.
Yeah, and at least Brees and Peyton played generally in the same era, so you can.
They also played head-to-head, and Brees
more
won.
directly.
No, Brees beat everybody head-to-head, I think.
Yeah.
Right. So, who are you looking at now?
Well, oops, I screwed up. Hold on.
Are you still on Peyton?
Yeah, I'm still on Peyton because I wanted to check his. So Peyton ended his career 14-13 in playoffs. Brees was 9-9. So it's not even that crazy of a playoff gap. And 5-3 at Denver, where he made 2 Super Bowls. One year he was exceptional. The other year, where he got 3 of those wins, he couldn't throw the ball 20 yards.
Yeah, it was hard.
The defense, Von Miller dominated the playoffs.
Defense was insane.
But again, not a knock on him. Manning was an incredible player. I think Brees they are the closest comps for me of all of these players. They played the game the same way. The one that drives me crazy is Dan Marino. It drives me crazy. Why is he the only quarterback on the planet to get a full pass for never winning the Super Bowl?
Yeah, because he's Dan Marino. Yeah,
because his arm looked so crazy good, and he had that little 2 to 3 year run coming, like I think his second, third, fourth year, where he put up crazy numbers, and they were crazy.
For that era, they were astronomical.
I know, Max hates this, but also PR.
Yes.
Yeah, like Miami, that was the Miami Vice era. But all that shit goes into
a 5,000-yard season in 1980.
It is crazy.
He was 85.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah. That would
That's like somebody throwing 6,000.
I was about to say, it would be like somebody going and doing that.
Manning ended up with the record.
He ended up with the record, but what was the first 5,000-yard season after that?
I think it might have been Brees. I'll look it up though while you keep.
What was that? 08?
Stood for a while.
So it stood for a long time, and that's a legit season. But that's a season, okay?
But I think it's the aura, as the kids would call it nowadays.
100%.
It's the Marino aura gets him in these rankings. I mean, he was in movies. Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Never won a Super Bowl. Losing playoff record. Only 6 10-win seasons. And
he was a popular guy in college too. So like that carried over.
Again, we're talking popularity now. If you're putting him 23 spots ahead of Brees, he doesn't have a
case. Guys like that
Marino did it in 84. The next person to do it was Brees in 2008.
Yeah.
2008. Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What's more impressive? First 5,000-yard season or 5,000-yard seasons, second place being 2.
But having 5 of them, much more impressive.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a crazy number. When number 2 is literally less than half the way to you. So we can compare those things, and again, that year from Marino with the 48 touchdowns and the 5,000 close to 5,100 yards is an insane year.
Yeah.
And it was out of nowhere and was the best quarterback year of all time at that point. But
I'm happy for Drew that he got the 5,000-yard season and separately won a Super Bowl, because I believe 2009 was not one of his 5,000-yard years, right?
Correct.
Because as
but it was
40,
almost 47,
what was
maybe.
Our record in all of Brees' 5. Anyway, my point is, he got the stats, he got the yards, but our team was set up such that if he was throwing for that much, it's probably because we had to, because our defenses were so bad during that era. I think maybe 11 was the only year.
His 5,000-yard seasons were 8-8, 13-3, 7-9, 7-9. I'm missing one. 11-5.
13-3 is sick.
So you're
So
two double digits, 1 8-8 year, and 2 7-9.
What was the 13-3 year?
2011. To me,
history.
That's him not winning the MVP when you had the best offense in history and you're the quarterback and you had the most yards in a season in history.
5,000-yard season with
the most ever in history.
3 losses.
So he had the most yards ever in a season.
13-3.
And then Manning beat him by 1 yard 2 years later.
Yeah.
Right.
So annoying.
That's his MVP for sure season should have been, and he didn't win it. That might have been the Rodgers touchdown ratio.
They won the Super Bowl. Rodgers won. No, they won the Super Bowl. The year
also,
before.
Rodgers is another guy who just looked better doing it because he's running out of the pocket. He's making these wild throws. Was that the year he had that insane playoff throw in Dallas?
No, he didn't.
Later, I guess.
We're gonna get to him real quick.
Okay.
But so for me, without a doubt, I rank Brees ahead of Marino.
Yes.
Because he has the Super Bowl. He has, I think Marino had 2 Offensive Player of the Year awards too, just like Brees.
Mm-hmm.
I think they both actually have a Comeback Player of the Year award. Brees' consistency blows him away. Brees' playoff resume statistically blows Marino away. He has a better record, only slightly. They both Brees had how many 10-win seasons? 8 10-win seasons to 6. Almost every metric slides to Brees.
And didn't they play about the same amount of years?
17 for Marino, I think.
Okay, so
20
close,
for Brees.
It's so annoying because 2014, 15, and 16 is like the worst defense in NFL history we saddled him with. It's so annoying.
Right. And, again, take in the adversity part. Now, you can't really do this because then you got to look at everything every quarterback faced. But losing Peyton after the 11 season where they put up the best offense in the history of the league. Then you have Peyton pulled back, which for a whole season, which in hindsight is just a crazy penalty for the allegations, especially when everyone in the league came around and said, it's not really to hurt somebody. It's a big hit thing, right? It's a turnover thing, and people do get hurt with big hits. So a full year suspension for that seemed aggressive.
But
But that was directly after the greatest offense of all time.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
like you take that hit right after y'all are humming. 09 to 11, those 3 years, we should have had minimum.
The suspension was that far after. Yeah, it was. Huh?
After the Super Bowl. Yeah, it was after the crazy offense year. Yep.
That's insane.
After we lost in San
There
Francisco.
should have been a statute of limitations on that. And that was one of the other things that the Barstool guys said that pissed me off when we talked about T-Bob. One of them was like, he won a Super Bowl with the benefit of a bounty program. I was like, with the benefit of a bounty? What the hell are you talking about?
Those guys were idiots. Don't
They
even
were
waste.
so-
Don't even waste breath.
The funny
on
part
it.
is a bunch of them defend like all the stuff Belichick was doing, recording teams and all that. Like,
They're all
Yeah,
it's
but the fact
it's whatever.
it's not just that, but the fact that there are a lot of NFL fans out there that think that way. It's just
There's a lot of
it's like,
idiots out
just
there,
stop.
just like everything else.
Yep.
So for me, Brees has everything Marino has. He's
And more.
a statistical
And more.
giant
Yeah.
with a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Okay, like for me, that one I don't understand.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
So that's the first one. I'm saying absolutely not for me. Brees has to be a ranked. Marino can be in the top 30, no problem.
And how many spots apart are they?
23.
Okay, let's move to the next
And
one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's 8 quarterbacks ahead.
So we could probably cruise for this next wave.
We'll get. Yeah, I can. Rodgers is an interesting case because
Same Super
Rodgers
Bowl.
had a long consistency, a great run, 15-year run of top-level quarterback, just like Brees. He was injured more. He missed more games than Drew during his career, which cost them multiple seasons.
That's on him.
He was not an epic playoff performer. He has the one Super Bowl just like Drew, never went to another one.
the MVPs is what
The
gives him
MVPs is what gives him the cachet, but
Yeah.
if you go look at the MVPs of those years, he had exceptional seasons, but the 15-1 season, hard to argue. You go 15-1, you have a great statistical year. But there's like a momentum with these MVPs.
see-
It was like Favre winning 3 in a row, right?
Yeah.
Favre's momentum was so heavy that everyone just in their head, he's the best player in the league right
No
now.
one has surpassed him yet, so we got to go with him.
Right.
That was kind of
Exactly.
Kind of the mindset.
Well, there's a herd mentality with that, and it's no different than like the people who stand in line outside of Mother's. Some idiot decided that Mother's is a great restaurant, and all of a sudden every tourist is going to stand outside of it. So it's the same herd mentality. Rodgers never threw for 5,000 yards, which is crazy.
I don't think he threw for 4,500.
He hit 46, 43 in
One time.
2011.
Okay, one time.
Who else besides Brees and Marino did?
Oh, he
Jameis?
did one. He won the MVP.
Pat.
45 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. The year Brees went in 2011, and Brees had the 14 interceptions. So it had to be Rodgers.
Yeah,
that
but
won.
Brees had 800 more yards.
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
right.
Green Bay got the 1 seed, which inevitably cost us the Super Bowl, in my
I think
opinion.
the biggest argument for putting Brees ahead of Rodgers is that Brees was better longer, more consistently, for a longer stretch overall.
That's a hard argument to make.
That's hard, dude. Rodgers is pretty damn consistent.
Like, Rodgers, his first year starting, he was 28 touchdowns. His last year in Green Bay, he was 26. The year before was 37, and the year before that was 48.
Yeah.
He has a long, like Brees, a very long 15-year run.
Yeah, but
It's legit.
And here's his deal. He doesn't
I'm not
throw
saying he
interceptions.
didn't, but are each of his years better than Brees?
No, but when you look at the totality of it, like his efficiency from a touchdown to interception ratio, and a lot of people will point to the fact that he didn't take as many chances. He was more.
He took way more sacks.
He
If
took way
if you
more
wanna-
sacks.
He could
wasn't-
run.
He could run.
but he wasn't taking the chances that Brees would take.
Right.
Like
What's
Rodgers
crazy
was
is he's
very-
now played,
didn't have
before
to.
this season, has played more seasons than Drew.
No, to Nick's, he was taking sacks. Like he would take a sack before he would force an interception. Like Brees wasn't afraid to throw an interception.
Right.
Which is fine pending the game situation. You would see, that's why, what's his playoff record? In the playoffs, he wouldn't take the chances to go win the games a lot of times.
Right.
There were so many games they lost with like 10 points. And you're like, that's a dominant offense not scoring any points.
Yeah.
Well, then what is it? is Rodgers another guy that you're putting Brees in the same group? Or are you willing to put Brees
For me, he's in the
ahead of
same
him?
group. Yeah, because he does have some things Brees doesn't have. He has more 10-win seasons. He has more playoff wins, even though he has the same. He's 11-11. Brees is 9-9. Very similar.
Look at his interception percentage. His touchdown to interception ratio is unbelievable.
It is. It's the best of all time.
527 touchdowns to 123 interceptions. 1.4% interception. That's fucking insane.
It is.
So efficient. It's
crazy.
unbelievable. And honestly, probably, arguably, the best arm in NFL history, throwing the best passes. It's up there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's number one, but he's in the discussion. He's probably
the best successful arms, because you always have those guys who could just
like a Jeff George. But
Jeff George,
of the top flight guys,
the guys who actually
I'm
won.
probably taking Rodgers' arm over anybody.
Yeah.
Just pure arm talent. Pure arm talent. I'm probably taking Rodgers over everybody.
I don't remember if he made the same amount of NFC championships or less. Brees made 3. He may have made 4.
Yeah.
It was 3. It's 3 or 4. But
they're in that same tier, though.
Yeah.
To Corey's point earlier.
Yeah. Okay. So
We'll slide you to the next
who's
one,
next?
I'm same tier. I'm not going to say next is Pat Mahomes. This one's real interesting because he's got 3 titles.
Yeah.
He should not be 12th all time right now, in my opinion.
Do you think
It's premature.
Do you need to see more years of before you? I think
I would.
That's kind of where I am with him. I think we need to see how his career finishes out.
At this
I'm going to tell you,
age,
his last 3 seasons
Not
are
good.
not good.
That's what I'm
great.
saying. Yeah, they're
No, he threw for he didn't throw for 4,000 yards in either of the last 2 seasons.
yeah.
That's
so let's say I don't think this is the case.
They weren't good. They didn't look good.
Let's say he falls off a cliff right now. Okay, and the next 3 years, it's like similar things. The stats to keep declining like they have 3 years in a row. He ends up with 10,000 more yards. He's only throwing 25 touchdowns or so the next few years, and then he kind of just falls off, kind of like many quarterbacks have at 35. We're talking about a lot of anomalies right here because they're the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
If Pat Mahomes doesn't have that longevity and it falls apart at 35 like
Yeah.
it did for some other players, where does he rank then?
Right.
He does have the 3 titles. I'm going to tell you, his Super Bowl play, very mid.
yeah.
At halftime of the Eagles last year, he had the same amount of touchdowns as interceptions in his Super Bowl career until he got the 3 garbage touchdowns. He has not been a dominant player in the Super Bowl, yet they gave him all 3 MVPs. 2 of them were not merited. One of them was. And it's just one of those perception things. And I made this case with Max when Stafford won his and they did not give him the MVP. I'm like, if that's Pat Mahomes, it's a unanimous MVP. Stafford was the best player in that Rams game. Mahomes was not the best player in 2 of his games, but he still got the MVP because he was the quarterback. So we make different rules for different players. I don't know why. We just do.
It's weird. He's kind of got the Dan Marino thing going on,
But
where
he's got
there's
3
these
titles.
2. That's the one difference is the title.
It's huge.
But he has the 2 outlier seasons where the 50 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and then the 41 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Other than that, there's 4 seasons here with touchdowns in the 20 range. One, his rookie year, he didn't do anything. So, the stats really aren't even that crazy. It's just the Super Bowls.
He does have 2 5,000-yard seasons, second all time.
Yeah.
And look, you get 3 titles and you play as good as Pat did. He didn't play his best in the Super Bowl, but those
The regular
years
season,
he
lights
was
out.
very good, and in the playoffs until the Super Bowl, most of the time he was very good.
If his career ended today, I couldn't put him ahead of Brees.
Absolutely not. Can't.
And that's kind of what you're going on with these lists. You know, you gotta treat a list like this.
Yeah, because if
as-
you're going to project him,
Yeah,
you got to go off of the last
Right.
3 years.
If you're going to put a current player
My one
that high
rebuttal
on this
is-
list is like, I know the 3 titles and I know the way he looked, but it's like,
But he's also been to 6 Super Bowls.
yeah,
Okay, that's second all time. So he's already second all time in Super Bowl appearances. It's tough. I think this one, because you have a case of how great a player he's been. He's done it at a crazy level in the individual seasons, and he's been to 6 Super Bowls. He's only played 8 seasons, I think.
9.
But one he didn't really play, right? So he's only started 8 seasons. He's been to 6 Super Bowls. That's a crazy thing, and played well for not elite during the last couple of years when they made it, but played very well throughout the whole process. So it's tough. But I agree. If we're going to weigh winning, we have to weigh longevity of career and how long the excellence lasts. For me, this one's a dead heat too right now. Pat, if Pat continues for 5 years, he well surpasses Brees.
Yeah.
Today, to me, it's neck and neck. If Pat's, say, fizzles out over the next 3 years.
Well, if he just does what he's done the last 3 years and doesn't win any more titles, I'm not taking him over. I don't know.
No,
it's
the same tier right now.
3 touchdowns. I mean, 3 Super Bowls is legit. And
hell yeah.
And he was the best player on the team. Not that day, but he was the best player on the team for all of those except for the Chris Jones Super Bowl year where he went ballistic in the playoffs and they allowed like 9 points a game throughout the whole playoffs.
Yeah, that defense was.
I'm so curious what happens this year because he was 6-8 last year as a starter.
Yeah, they weren't good.
That's just 1 year with a losing record.
And I told you the 15-1 year, the reason, I think, did you bet on the Eagles that year? I said the reason I bet on the Eagles is they won 8 one-score games and like some fluke crap happened too. And he wasn't playing his best. So we're going to see. This is where Mahomes decides if he's chasing Brady or if he's going to be...
If he's going to stay in the tier with the rest.
Right. Stay in this like top
which
6
he'll probably end up at he'll probably end up at 2 if we're being real.
Yeah.
But this is where he has to make his move for
he
Brady.
should, but I think like to your credit, Max, the last few years have showed that that's not a guarantee. You know, like you would
the
think
last 3 years, yeah.
3, yeah.
But even if he gets dragged to another one, okay, if he has his Manning moment and gets dragged and wins a 4th,
at that
you're
point,
second all time in Super Bowls.
Yeah,
he's gonna have in the 50,000+ yards in the 400 touchdowns. He's gonna be in that top 5 group.
Played in 7-1-4. That's
right. So I can't say Brees is better than Pat, but I will say to be determined for the future. Pat keeps playing even at last year's level. He passes Brees up. Next up, Johnny Unitas. This is where it gets really tough for me. There's 3 on this list: Unitas, Otto, and Sammy Baugh. I didn't watch any of them.
Yeah, it's hard. It's impossible to say with them.
Otto Graham's resume is off the charts. I think he won. He was in the All-American Football Conference, whatever it was called before the NFL acquired it. Wasn't the AFL? It was even before that.
Oh, I don't know.
This is old. I think he was like 30s and 40s.
Yeah,
Otto, maybe even into the 50s. But he won like 7 titles. He won
dominant.
MVPs. He led the league in completion percentage like every year, yards, touch, everything he did. He was the best of the era. So again, comparing eras is impossible. I'm not going to say Brees is better because I don't know. I'll say the same thing.
These 3 is impossible to say.
Right. So I'm going to throw them out because I don't have a good argument for Sammy Baugh playing in the 30s and Unitas in the 50s, 60s.
But they throw the quote modern era label on so many different things, like to make a list like this without,
So the people who made the list, they probably didn't watch him play. There's
no way. That's what I'm saying. There's no way. So to say anything beyond the modern era is a legitimate ranking.
It's impossible to say.
Unitas won a couple titles, I think, but like Otto won 7 titles and was the best quarterback in the league. But like I think he was the MVP of whatever the previous AAFC.
There's no way to judge. I mean, the quality of the players that he was going up against.
Right.
You're
asking me who's a better player? Brees is a better player. Who is the better? And again, this said NFL, and Otto Graham, the better part of his career was non-NFL. You're not even considering.
The reason you can't
it's not NFL.
Compare them is because if you put Brees in a time machine and put him on a team against, like in the same league as Otto Graham, it's going to be disgusting. Like, it won't even be close.
Of course.
We say that, and if we put Jim Brown in a time machine and brought him to the modern era.
Brown's different. That's why Brown's
That's why I say he's number 1.
That's why Brown's legitimately, 1 or 2.
If we're legit saying who's the best football player of all time, Jim Brown was a man amongst boys and would still be a man amongst boys. He's Derrick Henry today.
If it's clear even from black and white video that you could play in any era, then you're good.
Jim Brown was 6'2", 232 pounds.
I mean, he's big.
In the 50s.
Derrick Henry went in a time machine and played in the 50s.
Correct.
Like, that's him.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He only played 9 seasons. He led the league in rushing almost all of them.
So like with Derrick Henry, it's not even a hypothetical. But like if you put Derrick Henry in a time machine, put him in the 50s, like, well, Jim Brown.
Well, Jim Brown, same thing.
All right, so roll back that list again. I want to the list on CBS Sportsline real quick. I'm going to just tell you the people I know for a fact or definitively. So I'm going to say Brady, you have to put at number 1.
It went Brady, Rice, Brown.
Okay, I agree with Rice. That top 3 is hard to argue with. Walter Payton,
awesome player. When he retired, he had all the running back records.
Yeah. I'm not definitively saying he's better than Brees.
Me neither,
Montana,
because I don't think he
not.
was a super freak.
Right. Montana, to me, is a toss-up. His supporting cast. Manning is a toss-up.
These two
I'm
I would
picking
put
Brees.
ahead of Brees. LT and Reggie White.
Lawrence Taylor is ahead of Brees. Reggie White is ahead of Brees. Barry Sanders.
I would.
I would too. Marino, we covered. Rodgers, we covered. Mahomes, we covered.
Now here it gets hard for. We didn't watch Butkus. We didn't watch Joe Green. We didn't watch. We watched Ray
We
Lewis.
met Joe Green. We didn't watch him though. Ray Lewis.
We should have asked Joe Green. Do you think you're better than Brees all time?
You think you're better than me? Ray Lewis. What do we think about Ray Lewis? That's
tough.
That's a tough one.
That is tough. And
Emmett.
I think Butkus.
No.
I'm not taking Emmett over Brees. Munoz.
I don't know. How do you rank him against offensive linemen? Bruce Smith was incredible. 200
you
sacks.
probably have to take. You got 200 sacks.
Aaron Donald, probably
Yeah,
better than
probably.
Brees. Dude, you know the one that I noticed wasn't in the top 30, and I just couldn't believe it, was J.J. Watt. I think people forgot how dominant that
Yeah,
dude
he was dominant
He's eligible next year,
when
isn't
he
he?
played.
Is it next year? Yeah, he's first ballot. If he's not first ballot, I don't know what people were watching. But he didn't win, so you got that against you. Look, he's not even in top 50. There he is, 43.
That's crazy.
I'd put Brees ahead of Donald.
Oh, Donald.
That's tough.
I know
He's
Ruiz.
arguably the best defensive player in NFL history.
If he would have kept playing, his resume could have been.
He's going to come back this year.
I know. He needs to. He was like, he either won Rookie of the Year or was first team All-Pro every year he played.
No, I get that.
3 defensive
I get,
MVPs.
I get that. If you talk about impact on a team, and that's why it's hard. You got to be.
This is why it's fun to debate it, because there's a
Well, I
Like
did tell
with
you.
I'm with you. Like LT.
I did tell
Reggie
you.
White,
if you asked me to rank modern players, my top 10 are quarterbacks.
It's
Because
just-
there's so much on their back.
It's
But
hard to compare the. Yeah, it's hard to do any of these lists, QBs versus non-QBs, because, or at least when they get close like that.
we're trying not to do that. So we just
Right.
ran through it so Max
Yeah.
could draw the line. We drew the line at Barry Sanders. I
Yeah.
think we're good there. The last two, these are very debatable people too for me.
last two QBs.
Elway and Favre. Elway 22, Favre 27. Now, to be
shit,
fair,
I thought we were done. Damn, okay.
to be fair, they're ranked right near Brees. Elway 11 spots ahead, Favre only 6 spots ahead. I have Brees above both of them.
Me too.
And Max knows my favorite player before Brees existed was John Elway. I thought John Elway was like the physical tools. He's a number 1 baseball draft pick. The guy's a freak athlete. Could run. He was in an offense where he wasn't allowed to shine. Still went to 5 Super Bowls, won 2. Clutch as hell. As clutch as it gets.
You can't deny his ability. Really strong arm too.
But
I'm taking Brees.
I'm taking Brees. Brees played the position better than John Elway,
Yeah.
period. Now, John Elway went to 5 Super Bowls, won 2. He's got that on Brees. He has nothing else on Brees.
Well, it's kind of like the Big Ben factor when you have QBs that know. It's like when you're like when you're blind, all your other senses become heightened. So Big Ben, Elway, they're so athletic that they know they can rely on that to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
So
it counts.
It very
It counts
naturally,
for them.
they're not making a conscious choice to watch less film or to be less detail oriented than Brees or Peyton Manning, but they have those other options at their disposal. Brees and Manning had to be the smartest players on the field because they couldn't do the athletic things that Elway, that Rodgers, that
agree
Ben
100%,
Roethlisberger
but
could do. So
I don't think that matters when you're comparing players. Like
No, but
being
I'm saying-
able to run counts for you.
it does.
Being
but
able
what
to
I'm saying
study
is,
also counts.
But sometimes in being able to become the most detail oriented, become the smartest, you become better overall. And I think that's the case in Brees compared to Elway.
I'm taking Brees over both of them.
I'm taking Brees over both. I think I loved Favre too. Those were my 2 favorite. Favre was still in my mind until like the Lamar Jackson and stuff popped up, the most exciting quarterback you could ever watch. The guy would you talk about like Mahomes throwing off schedule. Imagine being able to get blown up every time you throw off schedule rather than untouched like Mahomes. You touch Mahomes, penalty.
Yeah.
Favre got laid out on these throws every time he threw them.
Watch the NFC Championship.
Yeah, and the dude would make
Brutal.
them and throw. Like Josh Allen type of like arm talent of just being able to chuck the ball off his back foot 60 yards. He was unreal. And
His last throw, the interception to Tracy Porter, is like exactly what he thinks. An example of him thinking he can make that throw, but doing an ill-advised thing.
I don't think that was ill-advised. We can get into that one later.
It's always
Not on today's episode.
not
Favre was
today.
the ultimate gunslinger.
It is always
Yes.
ill-advised
The
to
ultimate
throw across the
Not when there's 12 seconds left to go in the game and you only have one other down and you need to get more yards to have a field goal.
Okay,
We're not going down this.
Yeah,
we're not going down this road right
We'll
now.
get it. Yeah.
I have Brees ahead of both of them. And Favre 3 MVPs, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl win, was the most dominant player for a decade without question.
Yeah.
So that one's even closer than Elway for me because people have forgotten how he dominated the 90s.
Oh, yeah,
they really have.
He did.
So I rather than giving a definitive spot, I think
Do it as a tier list.
I think
tier 1 is Brady. Tier 2 is bigger, and it's Brees is in it.
I think Brees is in the tier 2. It's exactly where I think he's at. And I'm throwing out the 3 old guys because I don't know. But I throw Marino out of that. I don't even have Marino in the second tier. I think he's that third grouping with
I think it's got to be
right behind Brees' group. So I have TB all by himself.
right.
Montana, Peyton, Rodgers, Pat, Brees. 5 in that grouping. Put them however you want. I'm not going to argue with you.
Man, I'd throw
Then
Favre
I put
in there.
and
I'm throwing
Favre
in that tier.
Favre's a maybe. Elway's also a maybe. I mean,
I'd put Favre and Elway in that tier.
It's a big tier.
it's a big
That's
so
fine, though. That's fine.
it's hard to place them. So I guess my point is that
Brady's
while
the
I'm not going to
longest-
tell you Brees is a top 10 player of all time,
but
he
he's a top 10
is
quarterback.
he can arguably be as good as the second best quarterback of all time
Yes,
and as low as the 8th best, in my opinion.
I agree.
They
with
have him 11th. I think he's a top 10 for sure. I think he's ahead of
that.
Elway
And to your
and
point,
Favre.
he could be as high as 2, and he could be as low as 8. So
Yeah,
He's definitely not. What is it on here?
33 and 11 in the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
For me, he's not. For me, he's in that top 10. Again, whether you have him top 5 or 6 through 10,
Well, we said we'd put
I'm not gonna
Favre.
argue
Well, we
with
said we'd put Favre and Elway in the same tier as Brees, but we also said
Behind
we
them.
would likely take.
Right.
So it's really.
I'm putting them in the same tier.
So it's
though.
really only as low
And-
as what, like 6? If you got Elway and Favre in the same tier,
Yeah.
they're behind them, so they'd be 7 and 8.
and then I'll give you Otto and Unitas. Otto's career, just knowing of it is a epic career. Sammy Baugh, I'm probably throwing out. He won only 2 titles. He did lead the league in completion percentage 8 times, TDs twice, yards 4 times, and was 8-time All-Pro. So he dominated his
year-
era too.
What years did he play?
He played in the 40s, I believe. So
I have no opinion on Sammy Baugh.
but
The guys who played before the Civil Rights Act, it's like, come on.
Yeah, it's a different game back then.
But they had them neck and neck, so that doesn't really matter either way. But
To Corey's point, it's somewhere. It could be as high as 2 or as low as 6, based on what we just said.
Yeah.
yeah, and for
But I
me,
do think that there are 7 in that second tier. Montana, Manning, Rodgers, Mahomes, Brees, Elway, Favre, to me, are all in that same tier. And the order is just a matter of what your mood is that day.
yeah, and I tell you, if the no call doesn't happen, I think much more people agree that he is in the top 10 of the all-time players. If that one call doesn't happen,
Even
and that's
just-
why I told Max
yeah.
he needs the second one. He needs the second one, not for us. He needs it for the bigger view of how he's viewed.
Even just
in the
making
football
it to
world.
a second Super Bowl would have
been
something.
huge.
Yeah.
And we
Well,
would have
'cause he could've-
steamrolled that team.
And he would have beaten Brady
It
head
would
to
have,
head, which really changes the perception.
But
if he had done that, yeah.
Yeah, That
He
team
did
was the
beat-
best
They
team.
would have, yeah.
That was the best team.
he beat 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks for his Super Bowl too, which to me is one of the best runs ever. Tom Brady's beat it because freaking Tom Brady went and beat Mahomes, Brees, and Rodgers, and Stafford, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that right? That's the craziest because he had an extra game. But Brees beat 3
Brees
Hall
beat
of Fame quarterbacks.
Warner in, the Arizona game,
Favre,
and then
Peyton.
Stafford, Favre, or Stafford, Warner, Favre, yeah, and Peyton.
Stafford was that year?
No.
No.
It was
That was a different year.
Another
Yeah.
year, yeah.
Yeah. But to beat Favre, the best quarterback of the 90s, Peyton, the best quarterback of the early thousands. Brees was the best quarterback, in my opinion, of the 10s. And then beat
Warner,
Warner,
the
who,
tail end, but yeah, but still.
2-time Super Bowl appearance, 3-time Super Bowl appearance.
But Warner
MVP.
Warner got that team to the
Yep.
Super Bowl, yeah.
Yep, that same team. This was 2 years after their Super Bowl, where honestly they probably should have won, but James Harrison had other ideas.
Santonio Holmes, too. Well, cool. So I think that was a fun little exercise.
It was.
Let's put a bow on this one. So we have a preseason game this week. Saints are playing the
Jaguars.
Saturday at 3 o'clock. So we will do a recap of that for our next episode, and then we can start talking a little bit more about training camp and what we see in the preseason and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important that we start the season off 1-0. Big deal.
That's our preseason.
Got to get the win.
There you go. That was insightful.
But joint practice is coming up. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
And for the first time since I can remember, we're doing them here. I don't recall the last time we did a joint practice in Metairie. It seems like anytime we do joint, it's always in California or going to the other team. So that'll be cool.
The other team will have to come here and deal with the humidity.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. But
they might be used to it in Jacksonville. But
Yeah. All
cool.
right.
We'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Thank you for listening to this episode of Saintsaholics Anonymous podcast. We'll catch you next time. Who dat?
Who dat?